Good evening, people. I have my fedora hat, my glasses, my leather jacket, my ring, and 2 full pages of questions. Well, good evening, people. This is Gregsynthbootlegs, and this is the very first episode of the GregsynthVlog. I finally found a name for the vlog, and it wasn't my own idea. It was the Alton Bootlegs and Inuliger who thought of the name, and I quite like it. It's very simple, it's to the point, it doesn't sound too cheesy or anything, and I like the sound of it, so I'll stick with that name. So thank you for suggesting me that name. And just a couple things just before I get into the vlog questions that were asked over the last 10 days or so. I recently uploaded 2 Japanese 79 sources to my channel. The first was 4/14/79, that Tokyo show, the Mr. Peach source. Lovely, lovely stuff on that one. I love the quality. Love it. And then the first Fukuoka show from April 30th, 1979. I love the vocal performances. Bicycle race. That's pretty cool to hear, by the way. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy those uploads. I somehow managed to, despite, what I was hearing. So I'll be looking forward to the comments later. And really not much else to say that's non-vlog related. So let's get into the questions. I have 2 full pages here of questions here by several different people. So let's get into it. And in terms of these questions now, if there's new ones you want to ask me, you can post it either on the video that's going on YouTube. I will reply to all the comments that are sent around these questions, but not to the new ones, because I just want to put it in the video. Also, you can put them in the discussion or on my Facebook. Just basically get the questions to me, and I will, answer them. Or I should say, I will remember them, write them down, print them, and then I will read them to make sure that I got all the questions. So, got that out of the way. Now it's time to answer everything. First questions. We have 3 questions from the user Just3Nerds. And let's see here. The first one he asks is, what is Freddie's highest live note in full voice? Alright, everybody pretty much has their own definition of vocal terms. I could say something, and the person next to me will say something completely different. I consider full voice to be non-falsetto tones that are generated, with the chest voice, or mixed, or head. Basically, notes that are considered non-falsetto. Highest I heard Freddie go with non-falsetto tones is the D5 note, which is above the tenor C. That's the note you hear on, like, We Are the Champions in the choruses, or the Bo Rap rock section, the high note, that's the tenor C. The D5 is one whole step above that. He's hit that a couple times live. One was Stockholm 86 at the end. Under Pressure from Montreal 81, not the official one, but the night before, he hits it right on the Can We Give Ourselves part. And also the Save Me from Edinburgh 82, the second night, he gets one towards the end. And these notes, it's impressive that he got to them, but they're not like the most tonally pleasing kind of notes. But, I give credit where it's due. He went for them, and it was surprising to hear him go that high in a live setting without falsetto or anything. So Freddie Mercury gets credit. And it was probably the mustache that did it, because Freddie's mustache has magical powers that are amazing. And also, Just3Nerds asks another question. He asks if I like heavy metal music. Yes, I do. I'm not a classic metal head per se, but I enjoy a fair amount of heavy metal. And then his other question was kind of like a part B to that when he asks if I do like metal, what's my favorite band or my favorite bands. Well, I love Black Sabbath. I think Iron Maiden is cool. Morbid Angel, which is a recent band that, well, they're from, the late 80s. They started in the late 80s, but it's a band I recently listened to, and I, quite frankly, enjoyed them. I mean, they're thrash metal, and that's not a genre I'm usually known for, but, known for listening to, but I enjoyed it. I heard their Altars of Madness album, and I thought that was cool. And then my all-time favorite metal band that I listen to the most is Queensryche. I have their first few releases from the Queensryche EP through Empire, and I think they are awesome. My favorite album of theirs is Operation Mindcrime from 1988, and for Iron Maiden, it's a toss-up between The Number of the Beast and Power Slave, and for Black Sabbath, it has to be either Paranoid or Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. I think those two are absolutely fantastic. So there we go. And now, next person is, hopefully I'm not mispronouncing the name. If I am so sorry. I'm not exactly known for pronouncing stuff correctly if it's foreign or something, because I like fucking that up a lot. But user is Milan Nikolic. I think that's what it is. Sorry if I screwed that up. And he has a whole bunch of questions for me, so I shall answer them all as best as I can. First, he asks, who has, in your opinion, the best voice after Freddie Mercury? And then he says you can include any artist, all your bands, all genres. Name the top 5. Okay. The best voice after Freddie Mercury, which is very, very tough because there's so many freaking goddamn good singers out there. It's hard to really pick. But after Freddie Mercury, voices I find the best. I think Rob Halford has an incredible voice. Classic. Also, Judas Priest is actually another metal group I listen to quite a bit. I'm trying to get more familiar with their material, but I know at least 1 or 2 of their albums. Screaming for Vengeance was one, and I think the other one was I'm trying to think what that was. It's the one I'm trying to think. I think it was Painkiller. I think that's what it was. Yeah, Painkiller. I think Rob Halford has a cool voice. I think Paul Rodgers is phenomenal. One of my favorites is Elton John, even though he's not known as being, a phenomenal, great, amazing, top-of-the-line singer. His voice, I think, sounds good. He gets the job done, and I think he has a cool tone. I think Roger Daltrey is phenomenal. Prime Jeff Tate, before smoking and God knows what else he did to his voice. He had one of the best voices in metal. And that's pretty much all I can think of off the top of my head. Let's see here. He also asks, name my 5 favorite guitarists. Well, of course, the Doctor, Brian May, is my favorite guitarist personally. I also love Alex Lifeson of Rush. I think he's phenomenal, very melodic, a very textured player. He knows what to play and what not to play. I love his playing. I think Eddie Van Halen is fantastic. I do like some shred guitarists to a certain extent. I think early Yngwie Malmsteen was phenomenal. Randy Rhoads was cool. I also like listening to Boo Boo Kitty jump on the table and almost bat my camera right off the computer. That's a pretty cool sound as well. But I also like other guitarists who aren't exactly known for, say, like technique per se, but their general feel and sound for the music. Like, I like listening to Ace Frehley from Kiss. I think he, for his raw, like kind of sloppy feel, I think he's got a good feel for the music. A very cool bluesy sound. I think Bruce Kulick is also cool too. I also like Vinnie Vincent to an extent, although he's a little bit too shreddy bumblebee for my taste, especially on the Vinnie Vincent Invasion albums. But yeah, there's some there's some guitarists that I dig a lot. I also like Davy Johnson's playing from Elton John's band. I think he's wonderful too. Um, let's see. He also asks my opinion on certain bands and describe them in a few sentences. Black Sabbath. I think Black Sabbath is a highly influential heavy metal band who really kickstarted the genre. They deserve all the accolades. I think Tony Iommi is phenomenal. Ozzy has a cool tone. And I like some Black Sabbath, and highly acclaimed, and they deserve any accolades. The Doors. Not too overly familiar with the Doors. I have a greatest hits tape that my dad's let me borrow. I may get the CD because I enjoy it, but I think the Doors sound pretty cool. I like the sound of Jim Morrison's voice, and I can't and I think it's cool that even though they don't have a bass guitarist per se, the keyboards doubles up, playing a bass keyboard, and I think they have a really cool sound. Rolling Stones, cool group. I have their Sticky Fingers album. I think they have loads of cool songs. I love stuff like Give Me Shelter, Jumpin' Jack Flash. Brown Sugar is one of my favorite songs by them. I've seen some live footage. I think they're very energetic live, and they really get into the whole live performance of enjoying themselves on stage and having a rock and roll party. And then I think they're a cool group. Let's see what else. ABBA. I don't know too much about ABBA except the song Dancing Queen, Mamma Mia, Boo Boo Kitty getting in the camera, and look at this. Get out of the video, seriously. And I also know that ABBA are from Sweden. I don't know too much about ABBA to really make a general opinion, but I know a couple of their songs. And let's see. He also asks what I think of Deep Purple. I know some Deep Purple. I have their Machine Head album. I think that's cool. I think Ian Gillan had a phenomenal voice. Richie Blackmore, awesome guitarist. I know he's doing his Blackmore's night stuff, like the medieval folk stuff. Haven't really listened to that stuff. People have given me a mixed bag on that, so I don't know what to take of that. But maybe I'll check something out. But what I heard of them sound cool. And I also like John Lord's organ playing. And last band he mentioned was The Who. I have a few albums by The Who. I think Who's Next is one of the best albums ever, and I think they're a cool group. John Entwistle, fantastic bass player, one of the best I've ever heard. Pete Townsend, great rhythm guitarist. Roger Daltrey is an amazing singer, not Roger Dalton, as I fucked up in the past. Thank you for correcting me, Brian Sangster. I appreciate that. And Keith Moon, very energetic drummer. And so I do like The Who. All right. Also asked me, one of my favorite female artists. That's a difficult one because I don't listen to too many female artists overall. I know it sounds sexist, but I just have certain groups I listen to a lot. But one that comes to mind is Stevie Nicks from Fleetwood Mac. I have her Belladonna solo album, and I think that's a really cool album. Two favorite songs are Edge of 17, which is one of my favorite songs that she's done, and Stop Dragging My Heart Around with Tom Petty. And I do like Stevie Nicks, even though some people kind of talk about her voice in kind of an amusing way with the vibrato, but I generally dig her sounds, and I like the solo work that I have heard of hers. And I also like a little bit of Aretha Franklin, Queen of Soul, and that's I don't have too much knowledge on favorite female artists, but I have a few that I listen to. And then last question he asked me is my favorite live Brian May Brighton Rock guitar solo section. Um, well, there's a lot that I love listening to. Um, One of my personal favorite guitar solos he's done is from the Earl's Court show from 1977. I think that's phenomenal. I also like the Brighton Rock sections from the late '70s jazz tour. Like Vancouver and Chicago have some of the most brilliant playing, like excellent jams. You know, I love that kind of stuff. Those are some of my favorites. And all right, that's it for you. Yeah, you asked me all these questions. Okay, next person goes by the name of Queenaholic 1994/Sam. I put that there just in case I can't, say the name, but so it's just easier to say. Now he asks me a few questions. First, he asks me, "What is the worst Queen bootleg you have listened to?" Well, I'll answer that in two parts because I can take that in a couple different ways. The worst quality Queen show I've heard personally is probably a tie between Glasgow '74 or that second Sao Paulo show from '81. Another one that doesn't sound exactly good is that Brussels show from '74, even though somebody did a really good job of fixing the quality. So I'll have to get that on YouTube, but they did a brave attempt to get it better, and they actually made it sound somewhat halfway decent to the point where, the casual person can tell the songs now, so I gotta give them credit on that. But basically Glasgow '74 and that second Sao Paulo '81 are just two of the worst quality shows I've heard. And the other worst Queen show I've heard in terms of performance or Freddie. Well, in terms of Freddie's vocal performance, some of those Japan '79 shows are really rough to listen to. Like the Fukuoka shows are up there. There's that Tokyo show from April 23rd is bad. Nagoya is also bad. I can't believe I had to hear that, but you know what? I had to upload it for everybody, so my hearing's still damaged. I'm still trying to get that healed. Then in terms of the actual band performance, the worst. The closest thing I could say is probably something like Dallas '78, where there's like technical fuck ups on stage and rough moments like settling into the new set list or Roger drumming in the wrong spot to a song or bad transitions to songs. So very rusty, but it can be forgiven. So that's probably the closest thing to a worse, Queen show I've heard. Although it's not like terrible, but it's really rough by Queen standards. Let's see. Sam also asks me, among the concert uploads, could you upload the third alternative source for Leiden, the first night from June 11th? Absolutely, I will. I'll upload it Monday or Tuesday. And the third question he asked me, would you like to see Hammersmith '79 and the Freddie Mercury tribute concert released on CD in the near future? Oh, hell yeah! An idiot would say no to that question. I would love to have Hammy '79 released on a CD, officially released. And it'd be cool to get the tribute concert out there released in full on a CD. I would love to hear that. I think those gigs deserve a release, especially Hammersmith '79. That is one of my favorite shows of all time. So there we go. And see, next person goes by the name of Chinwonder2/Jordan from Ireland. I'm half Irish myself. Asks a couple questions here. First is, what's the best version of Play the Game and Love of My Life? Well, for Play the Game, best versions I've heard personally are from Phoenix 1980. I think Freddie really nails the song. Also, Brian does some cool solo variations. I think Oakland '80 is awesome. I think Sao Paulo '81, the first night, is absolutely amazing. I think some of the European versions from '80, like Wembley '80 and Brussels, are awesome too. The best version I heard overall is kind of tough. Uh, for early, it's a toss-up between probably Phoenix, Oakland, and the Sao Paulo version overall. Those three. And then for Love of My Life, I'll break this down into two sections. In terms of atmosphere, best ones have to be those Leiden shows, from Leiden 1980, 82, 84, 86, where the crowd completely takes over the song. That's cool. That's definitely up there. Also, Brussels 80 has, I believe the second night is the one. Yeah, Brussels 80 has a really good crowd atmosphere too, where they take over the song. And then in terms of performance, vocals, I think Montreal 81 has a phenomenal vocal on it. So does the Crazy Tour versions. Like Hammersmith has a classic vocal on it. And Vienna 82, the second night, also has a really cool vocal too. And there's that. And then second question he asks is, what's my favorite Queen video? Whether it be a music video or like a live video from a show. In terms of a music video, no, it is not Body Language. I know someone was probably thinking that. No, it is not Body Language, even though some elements of that video I do like. I'll let you know what one, you can figure out which ones I do like. But my favorite videos for Queen, I think Don't Stop Me Now is pretty cool. A Kind of Magic's a bit quirky, but I like the look of that. Crazy Little Thing Called Love's a pretty cool video. And Bo Rap is classic. That's also cool. And Spread Your Wings and We'll Rock You are cool too. And then in terms of live video, my favorite is probably the Radio Gaga from Live Aid. I know, kind of cliche, but Freddie, with that magic mustache, nailing the song, gets everybody at Wembley Stadium doing the clap, the clapping thing for Radio Gaga, and that's amazing to watch. He had that entire stadium in the palm of his hand. He was built to command audiences like that. Nobody can. I can't see anyone else doing that. He was a one-off. Absolutely amazing. And let's see. Last question is, if Queen played Don't Stop Me Now after 1979, what do you think it would be like? Well, that's a tough one. I would like to think he would sing it very well. I don't know how far that question will go after, if it's to the Magic Tour or if they keep it in for a certain period of time. But I would think that if they kept it on the Game Tour, I think the early performances will be very similar to Crazy Tour, where Freddie would nail the shit out of the song and sound amazing. I think as the years would go on, he would start to sing a little bit more conservative and hit some of the key phrases like Crazy Tour, but then conserve his voice a bit on other phrases, and make Roger sing a little bit more of the original melody. I don't think it would sound good on the Works Tour with electronic drums, pounding away at the song and Freddie squawking on the speed of light into the 6th octave. But, it's like one of those questions where it's got so many guesses and there's no, and since was never played live after the Crazy Tour, we can only guess. Hopefully it would sound good. I think it would, but, you'd never know. All right, and then user Matt's Comics asks a few questions. First one he asks is, if Queen Productions found fully recorded shows from the live Killers leg of the Jazz Tour, would you want a live Killers film released? Absolutely. I mean, okay, Fred's not in the best voice, but there's 3 other people in this group. You know, you have the amazing guitarist Brian May, phenomenal drummer Roger Taylor, and the underrated genius bassist John Deacon, and they were on fire during the Jazz Life Killers era. So they deserve a shot as well. I would love to see a Live Killers film released. I think it would be cool to watch that stuff. The two is, what is your dream cast for the Freddie Mercury biopic and the Elton John biopic? Not really interested in those, to be honest. I can't really think about that really because it doesn't really interest me. But I'd say forget about that stuff and just deal with the real artists and the real groups and watch the videos and listen to the music. You know, I don't really think about the biopics and stuff, really. It's not really my forte. And then for question 3, what concerts do you want released? For official release, I would like to see something from the News of the World tour release, whether it be Houston or something from '78 would be cool. I do think a jazz tour show should get an official release. The musicianship was top notch on that tour, so that deserves a release. I would love to get Hammy 79 released officially. That's like number 1 on my list. So those are some shows I would love to be released. And then let's see here. We have EC Productions, Ethan, who by the way has some very amusing videos on his channel, making me wanting to do this contest of shoving marshmallows down my throat or something. I'd probably kill myself, but he's cool. He's one of those subscribers that wants to know how I am and everything. So I think that's pretty sweet of him. But in terms of questions, he has a very unusual one, and it's something that kind of took me by surprise. Instead of a typical question, he asked what my thoughts were on Princes of the Universe if it was played live. Now, when I told him to elaborate on that, because I know they didn't play it live, but he was saying, well, what if they played it live? What would it sound like? And I'm like, okay, I see where you're getting at. So then he tells me, well, think of that song being played live on the Magic Tour and go through each gig, and describe how it would sound according to you. And I'm like, well, that's an unusual request, but I'll do my best on that. Okay, I'll try to do that. On the early versions, like Stockholm, I think Stockholm and the Lions, I think Freddie would do some of the phrasing on the record. I think he would hit the high B's. I don't believe he would go higher than that. I think he would give Roger the highest bits, and he would harmonize a 5th down from that. And I think he'd hit G's on the gotta pass the test part, while Roger would sing the C5. But I think it would go over very well with kind of like a battle between Roger and Freddie for the vocals. I think that'd sound cool. In terms of it being played live musically, it'd be very stripped down. Unless they could get Spike Edney to fill in for a second guitar, I think they'd be able to give the sound a little bit more of a fuller sound. They may have to alter some of the stuff live, but I think it would come across pretty cool live if they could get the setup just right. I think the early versions, Freddie would do some of the key phrasing on the studio, and then give some to Roger. And then as the tour progresses, let's say Mannheim, Berlin, Munich, he would stop attempting any notes above a 4 and would sing the harmonies, like on F sharp, G, those kind. And Roger would take care of those notes that Freddie would, change around. I don't think he would sing it at Zurich because he'd have to be a fool to sing a song like Princes of the Universe with a shot voice. So I think they'd drop it for Zurich. I think they would revive it for Slain. I think Fred would sound a bit rough. would crack an A4 attempt, but hit pretty much every note below that. I think Newcastle and the Wembleys would have moments on it where Fred would hit one or two of the higher notes. If it was released on the Wembley shows officially, like the Saturday night, it would be all overdubbed with record phrasing. I think Manchester would have some cool spots in it. I think Cologne would have a B4 in it. And I think later versions would have conservative phrasing with a surprising high note on the Fréjus show. And I think Nebworth would have a special guest on it. And that's what I could think about that. And I think in Madrid, I think they would drop the song since Fred was sounding kind of rough on that show because it's very demanding to sing. Okay. Hopefully I got that the best I could answer. And then user Svent0R. Hopefully I said that right. Now he writes this in my messages. He wrote, "So I finally got to see Queen plus Adam Lambert last weekend. That moment where Brian began with One Vision, it felt really incredible. But as the show progressed, I realized that Queen can never be the same without Freddie. It's just missing something. The magic mustache." No, he didn't actually say it. I just added that in there. "Obviously, nobody will ever be able to fill that empty space. Brian and Roger were both really amazing, and they were the things I enjoyed most about the concert. But still, when it was over, I had kind of mixed feelings. I think they're getting too old. I think you've been on concert of the Adam Lambert tour, right? What were your impressions? What do you think about Brian and Roger's age?" Well, very interesting take on that. I was born in 1990, so I unfortunately was never around to see Queen in their glory days with Freddie Mercury. So I missed that amazing atmosphere with being in an arena or a theater or a stadium with, you know, the magic of Freddie Mercury commanding the stage with his vocal improvs and his microphone stand. So I missed it. And the only way I can experience that is to watch the videos on YouTube, or listen to the shows, or hear people who actually attended the shows back in the day and listen to their fan stories. That's the only way I can, you know, sort of kind of get some answers on that. And yes, I did see the Queen plus Adam Lambert tour. I saw 3 shows. I saw them in Auburn Hills, and then 2 Toronto shows. And I thought they were amazing shows. Especially the last Toronto show was one of the best shows I've seen personally, out of all the shows I have seen. And they were fantastic live. And I used to be a skeptic of Adam Lambert, but, you know, over a series of months, I kind of settled down. I warmed up to him, and, you know, he's made vast improvements on stage with the songs. So, you know, I enjoyed Adam Lambert's take on the Queen stuff nowadays. And, you know, the current tour they're currently doing is amazing. And, you know, I wish they'd come back over here so I can attend another show. But some of the other parts here, you cannot replace Freddie Mercury. He was a one-off. He is probably the greatest frontman in rock music. And, you know, there's nobody out there who I think that could fill his shoes, really. You know, Lambert knows that he's not replacing Freddie. He said that, you know, he's not comparing himself to Freddie. He just wants to sing with Queen songs because he loves Freddie. And, you know, I completely understand his point of view on that. And you know, Freddie was such an iconic frontman, singer, and just a general person that, you know, if you take him out of any equation, there is going to be an empty space. And no matter, you can find the greatest replacement singer or someone who acts and sings and sounds just like him, but, you know, it's not the real deal. So the best you can do is just, you know, you could either go with it, you know, or, you know, accept it, or, you know, just move on. But, you know, there's fans that, you know, unfortunately kind of turn their back on Queen from this whole Adam Lambert thing, and even the Paul Rogers thing got backlash. And, you know, you know, they're very different from Freddie, but, you know, at least the music is still being played live and survived. I would hate for, you know, Brian and Roger to quit playing live and stuff, because a lot of people, you know, weren't around when Queen were in their glory days. And it's not fair to, like, the later generations of fans from, you know, the late 80s, 90s, and, you know, the fans that, are you know, that were born in the late 90s, early 2000s, who are in school, you know, that they're starting to, you know, branch out and become independent and everything. And, you know, it's not fair to them that they won't be able to hear, you know, Queen live, you know, if they weren't playing. So it's like, there's stuff we can do and stuff. But you know, I enjoyed the shows personally. I don't have a problem with Lambert or anything. I think Brian and Roger were fantastic. And yes, they're getting up there in age. And yes, they don't have the stamina or the energy they used to. I mean, come on, they're in their mid-late 60s now. But they still have the fire in them, the passion. They're still having fun on stage. You can totally see it on these videos. You know, they've already proven themselves, you know, to the world, 20, 30, 40 years ago. They already proven themselves. They don't need to conquer new territory or sell, you know, millions of records or make the #1 hit single. You know, they've done all that. They're relaxed. They did all they need to do. They're having fun now. They're you know, yes, the money's rolling in, but money is probably not their top priority. They just want to play and have fun. So I would see them again, and I think they're totally having fun, you know, with stuff. And it's up to them when they want to stop. And I'm, you know, with all these positive reviews about the tour, I don't think they'll be quitting anytime soon. And my impressions were, I thought it was a fantastic show overall. Each show is better than the last, and I can't wait to see them again if they come back over to the States or Canada. I would gladly see them. And as far as their age is concerned, yes, they're getting up there. But, you know, as long as you know, the fans want to see them, and as long as they want to play and have the fire and passion, age doesn't matter. You know, as long as they play, there you go. But that was a very interesting take on things and some good questions. So thanks for that. Cool name, Svent, by the way. And then Shanna on Facebook asks me this: who's in charge at your house, you or the cat? Well, it's not me. Boo Boo Kitty, he's sitting right over there, staring at me on the back of the chair right now. So yeah, he's in charge. He makes sure I don't do anything stupid, and he also wakes me up so I'm not late to work. All right, page 2. James from Australia asks me, which Magic Tour gig would you want officially released besides the ones already released? And then he also asks me, what is the best version of Hammer to Fall from the Magic Tour? Now, question 1, as my screen goes blank. There we go. Perfect. We got that good. Question 1. Out of all the shows, I would love to see one of those Leiden shows released. I would love to see the second Leiden officially released. I think, you know, we have the video from One Vision, and that's probably the only footage from that show, but that would be an awesome release officially, even if it's just on CD, because, you know, the crowd was so awesome, the performances were great, and Freddie was tops. That'd be an amazing official live release. And, you know, later shows in the tour, it'd be cool if either the Viennas got released. Those were some cool shows. So that's my take on that question. Also, Cologne was good too. And then second one is, what is the best version of Hammer to Fall from the Magic Tour? Overall, the best I heard is probably the first Vienna show. Strong vocals, great solo by Dr. May, and it's kind of different than a lot of the other Magic Tour versions. For different vocal phrasings that aren't really heard, you know, too often, and you know, overall the performance just goes right. You know, it was just an excellent performance, and I'm glad the quality is great, so you could really hear it. But I believe that the first Vienna is the best on the Magic Tour. And let's see here. Christian V asks a few questions of kind of a unique variety here. First, he asks me, how good do you sing? Bo Rap talking. Well, I'm not exactly known for good singing. I can carry a tune, and that's about the best I can say about myself, is I can carry a tune. Bo Rap talking. I try to do my best on that song. It's a freaking high demanding song. On a good day, I could probably hit some of the notes in the verses, like the B flats, and on bad nights, I sound like something out of the Live Killers tour, except multiply that by 100 times worse. That's my take on the Bo Rap. And then 2, is truth the rumor of the Hammersmith Odeon 75 release this year? Basically, is there truth about the rumors? I don't know, to be honest. I've heard rumors about that show being officially released for like 3-4 years. So I take any rumor like that with, a grain of salt. But it'd be cool to get an official release, but I would prefer a box set of 75, Hammy 75 and 79. That'd be a cool joint release. But it'd be cool to get that released. And then, any estimated time for arrival for the bloopers video? It'd probably be in the next, at this rate, probably the next couple weeks. That video is getting packed with bloopers. It's going to be a mix of the stuff you heard on the 3 originals and some brand new ones that weren't featured. So it'll be arriving at the very latest in a month, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks. And I promise you will like this one. 4th question. Will you upload Milwaukee 1980? I don't want to push you, but I love that concert. Well, I think that's a good show overall. And yes, I will upload that, and I'll try to get that up in the next couple days. I promise to get that up. And then he also asked me my top 5 underrated songs of Queen. Let's see, songs that don't get praised too much or talked about too much, but are really good. I do like, I think Calling All Girls is an underrated song, and I think that's really cool. I love that song. I think that Long Away is underrated. I think that's an awesome song. You and I is very good too. I love that song. In terms of underrated, from Night at the Opera, although a lot of the songs are talked about positively, a song that really kind of escapes people's discussions are stuff like Seaside Rendezvous or Good Company. I think those two have brilliant arrangements, especially Good Company. I think that's one of the most underrated songs of the band. And another song, in a way, I think is underrated is White Man. Although that's talked about a decent amount, it should be talked about a lot more. I think it's an amazing song, one of the best on Day at the Races, and it's a nice kind of progressive kind of a song, and I love it personally, and I think that's an amazing song. And there we go. And then we have the next user by the name of the Creepy Messenger. And he asks a few questions. He says, what are your guilty pleasure Queen concerts? I will gladly tell you. Shows that are guilty pleasures. I love listening to London 1984. Specifically, that 3rd London show from September 7th, the infamous 9/7 show that people love to refer that to. Just hearing that show puts me in a good mood. From the first notes of the vocals on It's a Hard Song to the wonderful experimental phrasing on Bo Rap, that show is such a guilty pleasure, and I love the quality, and I love the different take on the songs there. And the electronic drums add such a unique new wave synth pop experimental expressions to those songs. I love it. Also, another guilty pleasure, Fukuoka 76 with that awesome Mr. Peach quality and the rather unique takes on some of the songs. That's pretty cool to listen to. And also Himeji 76 is cool too. I mean, listening to Bring Back That Leroy Brown and that a great quality with Brian playing a completely different key on the banjo solo at the end is one of my most favorite guilty pleasures of all time from Live Queen. That's pretty cool to listen to. And another guilty pleasure show I love is Brussels 84 the second night, especially I Want to Break Free and some other random nonsense on that show like like the Bo Rap and Champions are also top notch. Oh, I listen to that stuff and it puts me in a very good mood. I love it. And then also asked me if I could go back in time and attend one Queen show, which one would it be? Now that's a difficult question because I have like 20 some shows I would love to attend. But one that is always not leaving the top 3 spot, that's very consistent, is on the Crazy Tour. There is a particular show. I'm trying to remember the exact venue. It's from London. Damn it, I can't remember the venue name, but it's one of those club ones where they couldn't fit the lighting rig, so they had to use a couple spotlights around the band, and Freddie was talking to the audience between songs, like a casual conversation, very chatty. I think that would have been an awesome, intimate atmosphere. The bar's a few yards from the stage. You have, such a huge band in a club that can only fit a couple hundred people. The band is 5 feet from you. That'd be amazing. And it's on my favorite tour too. So I would love to attend one of those really intimate Crazy Tour shows. Oh, I just think about it so much. I love it. And then, third question. And would you attend one of Freddie's parties? Abso-fucking-lutely I would attend one of his parties. I don't know what element I would like the best, but I would find a whole list of stuff I would love. Whether it be, people smoking cigarettes in their crotches or people completely naked rolling around with body paint on them resembling clothes. I would find a lot of great things about his parties, and I would love to attend one of those. And so there you go. There's the answer. And then Simon, a.k.a. Setzer, from Denmark, asks me this. My top 5 favorite vocalists overall, male and female. Let's see. In terms of female vocalists, I think my favorite is probably like a toss-up between Stevie Nicks and Aretha Franklin, which are 2 totally different singers. But I listen to their stuff quite a bit, and I like their voices, even though they're completely opposites. I also like Bonnie Tyler's voice, very raspy and rock and roll. That's from screaming during Healing from Nodules. That's how she got that trademark sound of hers. And I think she's got a cool tone. And then for male singers, I think Freddie's my favorite. I also dig Jeff Tate Prime. I think Elton John's one of my favorites. I love Paul Stanley's voice. Well, except for the last handful of years, been different. But overall, he's one of my favorites. I think Steve Perry is phenomenal. And another one that I personally dig is Rob Halford. So there's some of my favorites. And the person who waited till literally the very last minute to put his questions down, just before I was going to make this, he writes this down. And he writes like 5 questions, and I shall answer them all. And just to tell you, it's Christopher McManus, long-time fellow Queens fan, subscriber, acquaintance, friend of mine, you'll get your questions answered right now. First one is this. He actually starts off with this, and I quote, "Dear Greg, I have a few questions." Yes, you do. Question 1. What is your favorite Queen album? Night at the Opera is my absolute favorite. Love that album. Question 2. Is there any show that you have heard about but yet to hear and really want to hear through Reputation? Yes. One that is right at the top is that New Zealand show from Auckland, 85. There's no video or recording, but the reviews I've heard and the people who have told me about this show, it makes me cry with laughter reading about this, where Fred's drunk on stage not knowing the words to songs and fucking up the piano and saying his voice is fucked in between songs, and you know, just hearing this stuff and the people who were there tell me stuff like that is just, it gets me in tears of laughter, and I would love to hear that show. That's one of the top ones. That'd be probably the funniest Queen show ever. I'm laughing thinking about it now. Third question. Yeah, on this one, he starts rubbing it in my face now. Do you now feel, from talking to Peter, that Freddie was in fact a baritone, or do you still think he was a tenor? Yeah, rub it in. Yes, I was wrong for 7 years. Shut up. I can. Okay. Yes, I can. I am wrong on a lot of occasions, especially something like that. Well, I believe he sang tenor. That's no question. Although I do agree that his natural voice was lower than the typical male tenor. Yeah, I would definitely agree that he was a natural baritone who sang tenor, you know, pretty effectively. Although, you know, there's been some cases where it didn't really happen well, but you know, for overall, I think he did a great job with what he had, and he was able to sing both parts very effectively, and that's my take on it. And Peter's probably laughing at me if he sees this. Fourth question. If Freddie played in Waterford and you were alive, on which tour would you like to have been on? The Crazy Tour. I would have loved to see him in a little club, you know, the Sharks Club or something. That would have been awesome to see, you know, Queen and Freddie in that little club venue playing such an awesome set with Freddie in top shape. I would love to see them in a club venue like that. Crazy Tour. And the last question, which is unrelated to Queen, but I will answer it anyway because I love answering questions. Since Stan is Dutch, given the choice, would you take him back in time to an Elton gig or to a Queen Leiden gig? And just to tell you about that, on my other channel, GregsynthWizard, that's my Elton John channel, I have a Elton John album review show called The Wizard and the Kid, and I play the role of the wizard since my channel name is GregsynthWizard, which is a pun off of Pinball Wizard, and then Stan, who has the channel Elton Billy MSO Fan, which is Melbourne Symphony Orchestra. We do this album review show together, and it's a riot. Love talking to him. We love duking it out on, you know, favorite songs from the albums and what songs are bad and were good. And he resides in the Netherlands, so you know, it's cool doing that international you know, show like that. And the comments are hilarious too. I love reading that stuff. If I were giving him a choice, I don't know how much of a Queen fan he is. I should ask him. I would take him to see, you know, probably on the Magic Tour, just for the atmosphere and stuff. But in terms of Elton, I would probably take him back. I would do the Elton one first because I know he's a huge fan of Elton. And I don't know what tour I would take him to, but since he likes the 86 stuff, I would probably take him on probably one of those symphony shows. You know, I'll use my time machine. I got to get it working, but I would definitely take him to both artists. Probably the Elton one first because I know he's a huge fan. And there we go. That's all the questions. I think I got them all. So in that case, I had fun doing this. I still have a voice, although it sounds a little bit hoarse from the last couple of days. I will get this on YouTube ASAP. And remember, submit your questions to me either on the video, my Facebook, my YouTube, you name it. And I will be taking questions up through the next Sunday, and then I will post the video on the evening. So this is GregsynthVlog signing off.